Hello and welcome to this episode of the Spacetown podcast. I was actually recently watching the Houston Marathon and half marathon, and they were showing like local commercials because I was watching on ESPN3, and they kept calling Houston Space City, which I wasn't aware of, but it makes sense when you think like Houston, we have a problem. Like, I guess NASA, like the space program in America, is probably more closely tied to Houston than it is to the Space Coast, which is the influence on the name of this podcast. If you hadn't picked that up, um, yeah, I don't know if people are gonna. Not that this is gonna be a big issue, but I could see someone thinking, "Oh, a Spacetown podcast? I bet that's based out of Houston or about Houston," but it's not. It's based out of Melbourne, Florida, which is not even where the Cape is. It's just like along the coast in the general coastline area of the Cape Canaveral. Anyway, on this episode, I talked to Brenden Clarke, who's my friend and coworker. We've been working together for a few months, and it's going well. And he got me the job, so it's like, I don't know. I kind of owe him a lot because I wasn't. I don't know. I'm not very ambitious in my job pursuits, and he kind of just called and said, "Hey, there's an opening that I think you'd be good at." And then that was an internship, and then it turned into a full-time thing. So now I'm happily employed, and it's mostly thanks to Brenden, honestly. So yeah, I've told him thank you, but like, I don't know. It's a pretty big thing that he did. This is probably gushing too much. So let's get to the conversation. On this, we talk about all kinds of things. He went to Korea and has a lot of cool stories from that. And we talk about all kinds of stuff, and then we get off track, and I cut a bunch of stuff out, but you'll know when that happens. Okay, here we go. Episode 3, starting now. Brenden Clarke, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Wait, are we on right now?
Yeah, we're going.
I did not know that.
I like to.
You caught me off guard.
I like to sneak up, and then because the start of the episode is kind of just like a rolling into the conversation.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking for hours, and we just decided to start recording. So, how's it going?
Good. Just returned from South Florida this weekend.
You want to talk at all about how things went down there?
I went down there to play a poker tournament, and I lost.
Okay.
But I had fun, had a good time.
Yeah.
Spent some time with friends down there, and we'll be working on my game more, and we'll grow from the experience. But it was a fun time.
Yeah, I mean that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Learn.
Exactly.
Move on. So poker. What were we talking about?
A bunch of different things.
I mean, some people who listen to this obviously aren't going to know who you are. So you want to say what's been going on past couple of years, or who you are, and all that stuff?
My name is Brenden Clarke.
Middle name?
Thomas.
Nice.
I am currently a digital media manager.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, that is a fancy way of saying I help make commercials for the internet. And for those of you listening who don't know, Dan and I work together.
Yep.
That's a fun fact.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah. And before that, I don't know. I feel like you're better at this.
Just saying what you do?
Yeah.
I mean, you went to school. You had a little T-shirt company before you went to college. You had one during college.
Yes.
You moved to Korea, which is a big move.
Yeah, moved to Korea.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's jump into that.
What were you doing there?
I was teaching English I was teaching kindergarten to students.
Okay.
They were 5 and 6 years old.
How was that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome experience. Did not.
You didn't know you were
expect
going to be a teacher when you were studying
No,
in college.
not at all.
Yeah.
Never crossed my mind, actually.
And then just kind of found yourself in Korea.
Yeah. I had one of those, like, I think it happens quite often. 22-year-old midlife crisis. It's like, what am I going to
Hopefully
do?
quarter life.
Yeah. What am I going to be? And then, ended up just through some weird circumstances visiting. Really enjoyed it. Wanted to prolong my time there.
Mm-hmm.
And, a friend over there was teaching English, and it kind of inspired me to do it because it's the only way to stay.
Yeah.
And then I got my teaching license, and then it ended up being a wonderful experience. It's just a beautiful time over there. That's kind of how it started.
You mean the only way you could stay because you had a job?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
you have to. How it works is you can get, like, my visa was called an E2 visa,
Mm.
and essentially you can stay for up to 3 months, but then you would have to leave for an X amount of time and then come back. I think Europe, the EU, they have rules that are kind of similar. Like you can only stay for 3 months
Okay.
if you're an American citizen. So Korea is kind of the same thing.
So you would go for 3 months and come back for a week or something, or?
Like if you didn't have
Okay.
the visa, yeah.
Okay.
So obviously the easiest way of getting a visa is to teach there. You know,
Okay.
unless you speak Korean, what kind of job would you get other than
Yeah.
teaching English?
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
So I mean, we've talked about this before, but explain how you start teaching in Korea when you don't know any Korean.
Yeah. So I think this is like a modern misconception
Yeah.
that you have to know how to speak some Korean, which I even thought you would need a little bit. And I can promise you don't have to know any Korean at all. You could live there and not speak any, but for teaching, essentially all of the so how it works, just to kind of give you an overview, and it's pretty interesting, like the infrastructure and like the economy of these English schools there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're referred to as hagwons. That's like the Korean term, which is like English private school.
Okay.
And so you kind of have two differences. You have the hagwons, and then you have the like public Korean schools,
Right.
elementary, high school, junior high. Similar setup to the States, actually,
Okay.
in terms of structure. And it's a lot easier to get a job at a hagwon because it's privatized, obviously,
Right.
and like there's more private schools. It's kind of become I wouldn't say it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like it was a cash cow, I think, in like the early 2000s.
Okay.
From what I've heard, there's a lot of these,
Like that specific one or hagwon?
just hagwons in general,
Okay.
like
Okay.
becoming prevalent, catering towards like the upper class, the upper middle class.
Right.
And because it's a very competitive culture, Korea. So like all these parents, wanted their kids to have the best and study English. So obviously, in order to get teachers, they were hiring young, travel hungry foreigners, from United States, England.
So most of the teachers there were foreign, or there were a handful? Okay.
So actually, they're like, in terms of the hagwons and the English teachers, I'd say 99% are foreign.
Really?
There's almost no Korean English teachers, and if they are, they've spent a lot of time in a foreign country
Mm-hmm.
that's predominantly English speaking, or they're half Korean, half British or American.
Is that because the immersion learning system that they rely on is easier for foreigners, or?
No, I would actually say it boils down to two things. The first would be accent.
Okay.
It's actually, you'll notice sometimes, there was a friend that I had over there. Her name was Honey, and she would sometimes have like a British accent when she spoke English. She spoke very good English.
She's Korean?
And she's Korean, full
Okay.
Korean.
Yeah.
And she had a British teacher. And
Yeah.
when you start young, so some of her words, kind of how she pronounced the words were affected. Not negatively, but just
Yeah.
So she would kind of sound British. So a lot of parents want that dry American standard voice, and so that's like a benefit to them when they're shopping around these hagwons.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. But that's kind of to get back to the main point. Like they built all these schools, and then they wanted to get lots of teachers in, and so it kind of catered towards a traveling type of young person who could speak English, and you just get your certification, which is not very hard to do. And
you get that online? You get it in America or what?
Yeah, you can get it online. They have different ones, or you can do it in person. Okay. I did mine in person, but honestly, knowing now, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And it's called like TEFL, teaching English as a first language, or TESOL, teaching English as a second official language. There's a variety of them that will allow you to do it, and that's that part, preparation and stuff.
So, I mean, kindergarten is very young. Probably don't have a lot of English experience, these kids.
Yeah. So, like, it's very odd. I can only speak on my experience, and so how it worked for me to kind of get up to pace and how I, got these students. I got a recruiter once I got the certification, and then I started applying through the recruiter, essentially. I did a couple interviews, and like some of them were bizarre.
Really?
They would just ask me these really odd questions.
Wait, like what?
So they would want to know if I was fit, like I was physically fit.
Really?
They wanted to see you, like lots of pictures of you, and see you physically, just to make like they want to make sure you're a normal person.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that you're
just not a weirdo.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. I mean, I feel like we should do that.
yeah, especially for young, when you're teaching young children.
Yeah, that's true.
And Korea is a lot more lax in terms of like having a male as like a young teacher.
Oh, really?
Obviously, I mean, I think it's just commonly known that there's not many young male teachers.
I think I saw a chart like a while ago of like the most gender disproportional jobs, and pre-K kindergarten teachers was like the most.
Yes.
The biggest gender disparity of any job is 99% women.
Yeah.
In that position.
And I think that without getting too much into it now, but I think that it would make sense. I think that kids at that age need to be nurtured and loved. And I think that, I mean, men do that as well. I think that it's very natural for parents to feel more comfortable with a female.
Yeah.
In that situation. But so they kind of would ask these odd questions like, are you fit? Like, what are your hobbies? Things that you wouldn't expect them to ask.
Yeah.
Kind of like, why do you want to come to Korea? And why don't you want to stay in America? And things of that nature. So eventually there was one opportunity that I liked, and they hired me. And then I flew over there, and it was, I thought I was going to get trained and prepared. And, I got there. I spent a couple weeks there before, just traveling around Korea. But I go to the school. This is bizarre. And the head of the school, her name is Sunny, and everyone is referred to as first name and then teacher in the school, even if they're not a teacher.
Yeah.
So she owned the school with her husband, and it was like, she's like, oh yeah, this is Sunny, teacher. You're gonna need to stay at my house with all the other teachers for a week. I was like, what? Okay, so I did that, and they just trained us for a week. That was it, and it was just, you would sit down and watch these other teachers teach, and these kids would be just crazy. They'd be so excited, the new foreign teachers.
Oh, so the kids are there.
Yeah, the kids are there. They're not in her house, but I'm saying we would sleep at her house. Yeah, and she just let us had a little schedule, and we'd go around. And then I remember, so it was like on a Monday we started, and then on a Friday, I had like a fake, like I didn't make a lesson plan.
Yeah.
Never had made a lesson plan ever, not even in the certification process. And they said, oh, well, based on how you acted, I'm a pretty talkative guy, I'm pretty friendly. Like, you're going to teach the 6-year-olds. And and then, they had like the ceremony. And I remember like having the ceremony, and it was like, Brenden teacher, like to the kids, like who their teacher was going to be.
Yeah.
And they're like looking at me, they're like so scared. And keep in mind, like I have super long hair.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, in like a beard, and they're just like mortified. They're like, oh my God,
Jesus teacher.
Yeah. Well, they were calling me girl teacher.
Oh really?
Yeah. Because they just because I had long hair.
Yeah.
And so I ran up. I was like, yeah, purple bear class. Cause I was like I didn't know what else to do. And I was like nervous.
You just like try and get them excited.
And they're just like not having it. I was like, yeah. I was like trying to high five them. They're like barely like excited about it. And then I was like, how are you guys feeling? And then I realized, like, they don't understand anything I'm saying. Like, they don't understand anything. And I was like, I don't know any Korean. And I was just like, yeah. I just had like my thumb up in the air. And yeah, and then it really sunk in that night. I was like, wait, on Monday I have to go and teach. And yeah, so like the process is predominantly like just like experience. Like they just throw you into the fire, and they've kind of trusted the characteristics that you have, and the fact that you're a good person. At least that's how the owner of my school was, and that's kind of how it worked.
That makes sense. I mean, if you're a good person and like you're responsible and like smart enough to figure it out, then you can figure it out and have a good time.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think it's like you obviously have worked with children recently, doing some volunteer work and stuff. And I think that when you're working with kids, at least for me, and I'm curious of your mindset and perspective on this, I felt like I matured so much, and I had to become so much more organized and focused. Yeah. It was just the perfect job for me, because you have to just be on top of it all the time. Right. You know, if you forget something, they're not going to learn that specific piece of content. Or if you aren't paying attention to every little thing, you're responsible for these children, and you have to take care of them, perfectly. I don't think that there's room for error, and you had to be meticulous and caring and loving and understanding, and you had to listen, and all these traits that are just so relevant to being, I think, not only successful but to bettering yourself. If you kind of felt a similar
I mean, I was working in a church doing I was like the interim youth coordinator. Like I was like in charge of the youth for like 3 or 4 months. I was there, and it was on Sunday nights. It was junior high night, and that was like it was me and the kids that would show up, and it was very similar in terms of like trial by fire, like just figure it out on the go. And it definitely made me like realize both like how much is involved in planning and organization, but also like how nothing just like comes together. Like you have to be prepared for everything you've done like in school and extracurricular stuff. Like people have been put in like tons of work, and I realized that was it was something. It was just like an eye-opening experience for like, when I like went somewhere and we would do arts and crafts, like someone like went to the store and they would buy all the supplies, and they would have to go through some process of like turning in their receipts, and like all this stuff is just like I didn't think of any of this.
You just take it for granted. Well, I mean, how would you not at a young age? Right. I totally agree with you. The amount of respect that I have for teachers that I was a handful as a child, and you just you appreciate what they did and what they continue to do so much more if you have an opportunity to work with children and have to plan accordingly. But I just think that it's something that there's just so much value in it, both intrinsically and extrinsically. To not only to travel to another country, but to immerse yourself in another culture, to have to be responsible for children, to have to teach them a life skill. I mean, when they graduated, my set of students from my class, I've never been more emotional. Yeah. And I mean, I don't think I've ever cried that much. Really? Because I just looked at them, and they were speaking English so well, and I just thought to myself, wow, you don't really think about it during the process. Yeah. But when they first started and they didn't really know anything, to speaking full sentences and taking, I don't know if you know the AR test, if you did that when you were a kid, like accelerated reader. Yeah. So they do that in Korea as well. Okay. And we had, all of them were reading at a first grade or better level as kindergartners. Really? I had a couple reading like, higher levels and stuff. And it's just like, wow. It was just a wonderful moment. Yeah. For all that to culminate, and for them to be happy, and like to have this just beautiful experience, and I don't know, it was a wonderful time for me, and I just think that it's so important for people to try to have experiences like that, you know, to volunteer or to just do things to where you're working with other human beings and you know, in a positive environment.
I'm sure that was like really rewarding on a personal level, just like seeing how big of an impact you had like, because you helped them learn English, which is a difficult skill. And like, yeah, it's probably easy to be like, well, another teacher could have done it, but like,
that's true.
I mean,
it's
probably pretty rewarding.
It definitely was really rewarding, but I have to say that they had a way bigger impact on me.
Yeah.
Not to sound cliche.
Yeah.
I was very nervous to work with them. I had really no experience with children. They were just wonderful to me in so many different ways. They made me a way better person. In
what way?
I mean, think in a plethora of ways. You know, the first one were just basic skills that I felt, that I felt like I wasn't very good at. I wasn't very organized. I wasn't always on time. I didn't listen very well. I, liked to, be the first one to speak. There's a variety of things, that I had to work on because, you can't. You're never going to be the center of attention in a kindergarten classroom. So there was kind of that set of things,
Right.
And then there were a lot more like powerful, deep, intrinsic, like value related skills or perspectives. Just how important just human interactions are, and just the virtue of love. To without being too emotional here, but I mean, like these kids, like you just realize how much you're conditioned to have certain opinions or to have certain beliefs, and like these kids didn't care about, what you looked like or what you had or didn't have, and they weren't really bullying too much. There's a little bit of it, and they would get so happy about like the smallest of things.
Yeah.
And they would just.
Wait, I don't want to interrupt, but like, can you talk about the Santa Claus story?
Yeah.
Because I really like that, like that whole idea you had, and
that's
it played out.
That's a great example of, and God, I feel like I didn't realize how emotional I cried while I filmed those too. Yeah. By the way, so yeah, what Daniel's speaking about is I had I had my students, and Christmas time was coming, and in my family we've always just been like the obnoxious, like lots of presents family. Yeah. But it just instilled in me this, I like to have a good Christmas. And so the kids there, they believed in, they all, Santa's real, so they were like super hyped on it. And we
have a lot of young listeners.
Yeah. So. And and I just wanted to make it really special for them. So we wrote letters to Santa about maybe like November at some point.
Okay.
And then
that's pretty good planning.
Yeah. I was all in on this one.
Yeah.
And then in early December, I called Santa, which I think I just changed like someone's number to Santa.
Right.
And called them, and it was but they didn't hear anything. It was like a fake phone call.
Okay.
And I made them all sit in their chairs, and I was like, oh, like Santa. Oh, yes.
So you just relaying the info. You're like, oh, yeah.
Like, he got your letters. Yeah. I'm like, he got your letters. Oh, wow. Lincoln, you need to work on this. Santa's been watching. and I just formed this trust with them. I'd been working with them
and
since
you betrayed them
March.
By lying.
Yeah. And so it's so crazy how much as a teacher I would lie to them.
Yeah.
But
in a loving way,
in a like positive way.
Yeah.
And so then maybe I think right before Christmas time, I had all the letters. I kind of read all of them, obviously, and then I wrote all the bullet points, and then I kind of gave I wrote like files on each student, and then I gave them to my father, and I asked him. And I mean, this guy's such a trooper. It must have been, it was like 3 a.m. U.S. time or something like that. And I took them all individually into the library, and I filmed them taking phone calls from Santa. And I mean, you've seen the video. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it really was.
They believe, all of them 110% believe that it was Santa. And just to see the looks on their faces and to just watch that was beautiful. And
that's one of those
so
moments
happy.
that like it just instills their belief in Santa for like an extra year.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of houses to go to, but also I did talk to him, so
yeah.
and then
I remember so my off the record, I had a favorite student. I just had a student I really related to.
Yeah.
And his name was Lincoln, was his English name. They all get an English name.
Okay.
And that's basically just to, if they're ever in a situation kind of with meeting English friends.
Yeah.
In English, I mean foreigners. And also some people have an issue pronouncing the Korean names. So Lincoln had an older brother named Jace, and I was close with both of them.
Okay.
They spent a lot of time at the school. But Jace told Lincoln like Santa wasn't real.
Really?
I was so upset.
Come on, Jace.
Yeah. And then Jace had to like be like, oh, I just, Santa didn't call me Lincoln, so I was jealous. You know, I had to like find a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hope that they continue to believe in it. And you know, it doesn't, as I think if you can facilitate them believing, it's a positive thing. Like as long I do. I mean, this is embarrassing. I honestly believed in Santa until I was like 13.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie.
I believe my sister believed till, I'm pretty sure she stopped believing in Santa in 7th grade.
I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
I mean, I think I was
that's 13.
5th grade. So I think we learned around the same year, which is still late. 5th grade's pretty late.
Yeah. What's like the average like
dude,
finding out about Santa time?
Now kids are on the internet.
Kids are brutal.
So like,
too.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how some kid, we were like changing for PE.
Yeah.
Someone was like around Christmas. I was like, I was the biggest nerd ever back then. I mean, I still am.
This is your elementary
junior
school.
I was not cool at all. I mean, I was like the epitome of, I was like at the bottom of the totem pole.
I've seen some like haircuts from back then, and that makes sense.
I mean, I was not. I was such a nerd. A little off topic here. This is just putting in perspective for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was that guy who like, there was a pretty girl in like 6th or 7th grade and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I like wrote her the little note that was like, I like you. Like, will you go out with me? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
I did that. And then she like giggled with her friends and then like I wrote no. Like, why did you have to write no? Like, I realized. But anyway, I was on that level.
At least give you a maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she like dated the biggest bully ever. So, yeah. But
that's brutal.
Yeah. So we were like chaining for PE, and I was like, yeah, like guy, like Christmas is coming up. I don't know who said it. And I was like, yeah. And then like some guy was like, yeah, like Santa's not real at all. And I was like, yeah, he is. And they were like, dude, you're such an idiot. And I was like, what? And then I remember getting like really worked up about it. And then I went home, and my dad, just like so true to form, was like, Brenden, they just don't have the spirit of belief. And then he like gave me this long like spiel, and I like still believed it. And then like that Christmas, I like woke up and went downstairs and saw the bad news at like 2 a.m. I was like,
oh man,
you lied to me, Dad.
Oh wow, I don't think mine was that.
It was
dark. It was like
dark.
I mean, I feel like you want it to be your kid figures out. You don't want him to.
Yeah. He was bummed. He tried to say like, "Oh, I was just helping Santa." Then I was like, "All right, like, gig is up, dude."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just it's a wonderful. I think, I'm sure, I know there's people out there that don't like this, but like that's, you know, the whole idea of Christmas is quite materialistic and stuff. But there were no gifts given in this. You know, it was just like the idea of Santa.
Yeah, it was just Santa,
and them being able to talk with them and talking in English as well was awesome. For them to speak in English, and the questions they asked were hilarious.
Like, why don't you speak Korean?
None of them asked that, actually, which is like hilarious.
That would be a natural question.
Yeah, none of them. That's so funny.
Santa's American.
I actually never thought about that. But the number one common theme of them speaking, and I cut some of it out, but you see a little of this in the video that I put out. They just wanted to know why Santa was overweight. It was like a big concern. Yeah. Some of them like made pledges, and I should have asked the parents if they did this. That they were like, "Oh, Santa, you're getting apples this year. Like, you're not getting." It was like they were so concerned about Santa's health. That
Wow.
was a very common theme. Asking how old he was very common.
Mm-hmm.
To which my dad always responded, "I'm as old as Christmas," and they were like, "Oh,
That's a good answer."
Yeah. That was common, and yeah. And then Lincoln asked something ridiculous that just stands out to me. It was like, just to show you how kids think nowadays. It's like, alligator or porcupine? Like, who wins in a fight? Like, he was like only Santa knows. My dad, he clearly put it on mute and started laughing.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not sure about that one. Like, I know that animals need to like each other.
Wow. That's a good question. Who do you pick?
Alligator or porcupine?
I gotta go alligator.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I saw an alligator eat a turtle. Actually, on Christmas Day.
Oh, in person?
Yeah, like in a few weeks ago. It was a crazy day for nature because my family and I were like driving to the beach. I talked about this in the pilot episode of the podcast, but that's not going to get released probably. So I can revisit the story all I want.
Yes.
We're driving to the bridge, and I'm just like looking out at the back seat, feeling like a kid because my parents are driving, my sister's home, and like I see a dolphin jump, not just like fin out, full body out of the water, like it was at SeaWorld. And then I was like, oh my God, I just saw a dolphin. And then it did it again, and someone else saw it. And then when we came back, we saw a gator like in this retention pond that is on 192. And it's like always there, so I always look for it.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it was like up on the grass, which it rarely is, and like it had something in its mouth, and then it readjusted what was in its mouth, and I saw that it was a turtle, and then it crunched it and ate it, and then sprinted into the water at like 30 miles an hour. It was the scariest. It was just like, oh, that's a dinosaur. Like it was, and that was Christmas Day. That was Christmas Day in Florida. That's what it is.
Yeah,
you
no
go to
snow,
the beach, you see a dolphin, and then on the way back, you see an alligator.
Just chomping.
Yeah.
Whenever I see anything like that, I like just really exciting in the animal kingdom, I just narrate like Steve Irwin in my head. Just like, oh, crikey. It's just like super hype in my head because I feel like in Florida you see a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, last week I saw probably somewhere between 80 and 100 manatees, like in the
that little
and like
I don't know where that's called.
Canal. I guess it's a canal, like across from Tortoise Island
it's like
area.
It's like a known spot.
Yeah, there was a bunch like near the Satellite Beach Library a few weeks ago, but this was like near the canal, but a little closer to what is that place called? The Air Force Base or not the Space Center. There's a base.
Patrick Air Force Base?
Yeah, Patrick Air Force Base. Yeah, by the canal over there. Yeah, and it's just like Florida's weird.
Yeah. I mean, like
it's weird for a lot of reasons, but also like the rare animals that live amongst us.
They're talking about weather. Korean weather was rough.
Really?
Yeah, for me.
And like I don't know what is it even with in terms of latitude?
Don't quote me on this.
Maybe longitude?
I believe that it's around New York.
Okay.
But it is way colder. I mean,
really?
If you compare. When I left on January 20th. I landed in Korea on January 21st.
Okay.
It was like 70-something degrees Fahrenheit. And I got off the plane. It was -4.
Wow.
And dropped my camera. I thought the lens shattered. It was just what shattered was I had like this is how much of photography like novice I was. I actually had UV filters on.
Nice.
Yes. So that's what level I was at that
so
point.
you were into photography, like you had a camera before you went there?
I was into vlogging.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to be a vlogger.
Yeah.
I was a wannabe. I was a poser.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was a poser. I was I want to be Casey Neistat because I was in a dark place and like kind of, and I was just watching so much. I discovered Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
I was like, I am Casey. And then I like got like the equipment and just because I always like taking pictures of people and stuff and videoing.
Yeah.
And then I dropped it and I thought it was broken. I was like, it's freezing. I was like, why am I here? It was brutal. I was like, I couldn't read any of the signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, my like first like experience there was tough.
That is tough.
First 30 minutes.
Yeah. So you start teaching pretty soon after you get there, or you say you travel for a couple weeks?
Yeah, I like organize it like so they usually pay for like for anyone out there who's curious, obviously just hit me up if you know me.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you don't, I'd love to answer the questions. But how it works is like they usually pay for your flight there and your flight back, or at least your flight there at minimum.
Yeah.
And then they pay for like your medical bills and some other things like that. And then they'll pay for your housing. And then they'll give you a monthly salary that is around 2.1 to like 2.7 million Korean won, which is to make it simple, that'd be around like 2K to like 2.5K. But the cost of living is really low. Like
per month, or
per month.
Okay.
So it actually seems low, but they pay for your housing.
Yeah,
insurance, and I was able to save a lot of money while I was there.
Yeah.
If you're like relatively frugal, not on your level, but kind of frugal, and but yeah. So I just got off, and then If usually though people get there like 2 days before and they just start teaching.
Really?
They just like hop off the plane. But I kind of asked my the owners of my school, hey, can I come a little early, since like I had a friend there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, yeah, for sure, like no problem. So I just hung out for 3 weeks, which honestly I'm so glad I did, because the jet lag is, if it's I know it's daylight's, I don't know what, but during day they don't have daylight saving time, so it's usually 13, but at sometimes it's 14. So it was, when I went there, it was 14 hours.
Wow.
Difference. And it was just, I mean, for some reason I'm affected a lot. So I kind of just hung out, and I would take day trips and just travel on, by myself and get acclimated in kind of the culture shock. So
you went there previously once for like a week or so, or?
I went for 3.5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Prolonged the trip to see Tyler, the Creator, in Seoul.
Oh, nice.
Which was very interesting. This is so Tyler. I remember I was really excited, and
How big was the venue?
Take the King Center, the bottom floor. Spacetown podcast. So the bottom of the King Center, and just no seats.
Okay.
So like a basketball gym size, but like more rectangular and turned. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first thing Tyler does, he like comes out to some, I forgot what song it was. I was under the influence of some alcohol. I was really excited, and Tyler just stops the first song. He's like, "What?" He's like, "I did not think I'd see black dudes at this show. Yo, there's 2 black dudes." He's just like so hyped that there was like black people in Korea.
Yeah,
that's like all he talked about for like 10 minutes. And so it was I don't know why I just like went into a tangent about that experience. But it was interesting to see Tyler react and like see an American rapper who's.
I would have a similar experience, I think. I'd be like, oh, I didn't know they're maybe a little more tame than his, because he's a pretty energetic guy.
Yeah, but it was just like I hadn't experienced the Korean culture too much,
Yeah.
But now, after living there, just the way that they acted while he was there, you could really tell that these were very artistic and a little bit different, not in a bad or good way, but they were just more unique and creative, and not. They obviously had been exploring other cultures and other facets of art and things of that nature, and music, and the experience at that show was really unique. But so I spent 3 weeks there, and then I came back, and I was like, I gotta go back. Like I really enjoyed it, and then ended up going back, started teaching, and then just started trying to experience everything I could, and the weekends, always was doing something.
What were some highlights? Would you go out of town? Would you just stay in the area? Okay.
Yeah. So I lived while I was there. I lived in Bucheon, which is like a satellite town of Seoul.
Okay.
That has a lot of people. It's like it would be a major city in the States. And then I lived in Seoul as well. I would kind of go back and forth. I had a place in Bucheon, and then I had a place in Seoul. I would kind of like first started out. Would just go to like hit the Seoul spots. Just like certain. Just like attractions, like temples, older temples, or just touristy things. And then at night, would kind of find like the social area. So there's different like neighborhoods, kind of just like in New York City and Seoul.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's like Hongdae is where like a college is located, and there's like an area where there's like bars and like a big park. There's like a famous, like, not, I don't know if it's famous, but it's very popular where like lots of people, young people meet young adults, and we would go there a lot at the beginning. And then Itaewon is like the foreigner district.
Okay.
And you would go there and hang out a lot, and then we kind of started expanding, and we'd go to the beach, and we'd go to other cities, and kind of experience things on the weekend, and just expand kind of the amount of experiences and magnitude. Yeah.
So this I know so little about Korea that I have like infinite questions, but like is there like a religious culture there?
Very Christian.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of churches, a lot more than I expected, and then there is a good amount of Buddhist followers, and I think I saw a couple Hindu places, but the temples there are Buddhist temples. That are in Korea, but many Christian churches. I mean, it's very prevalent.
That is kind of surprising.
I believe that Christianity is the most prevalent religion in Korea, and you see the churches everywhere.
Yeah. Is the culture like influenced by that, or is it more of an? Because I think that, I mean, I've been to a couple of countries in Asia essentially, and like they're all different, but there's definitely like a more of an Eastern culture. Yeah. And I don't know how to describe it.
I would say that Koreans, like with regard to religion, I don't know if I can answer your question.
Yeah, okay.
Because I really didn't interact. I went to the temples and stuff, but I never got, like, I'm not too sure. It did seem like in the few experiences I had that the people who were religious were pretty devout. Yeah. At least the Christians.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
But
like when I was in Malaysia, it was I feel like it was during Ramadan, and the call to prayer would happen, and the streets would be empty, and we would go to like we went to an Indian market because they weren't Muslim. Yeah. And they were like, yeah, we're open. Like, yeah. There's no lines. There's no one. They're like, we'll serve you. We don't care. Yeah. Like, so we just ate, and that was.
Yeah, there was never like that. Yeah. Like I never saw like a cultural.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a, event.
Yeah, it was kind of strange, just because it's like we were like in a city, and then we were walking around.
Yeah, you're not expecting
at like 8 p.m. or whatever it was, and like everything was empty. So that was kind of a surprise, but
yeah. Just a lot of the cultural things, that I experienced are just so unique. They weren't really like based upon anything like religion. They were just like, it was just Korean.
Yeah. Like what?
Okay. So first of all, with my experience there, I found that people there are just like very affectionate. So you see couples everywhere. They'll wear matching outfits. They'll wear matching shoes. They'll hold hands. Like public displays, not kissing, but just like holding hands and being cutesy and things of that nature. Yeah. Were just way more prevalent than I had ever seen in the States, which was just very interesting.
Yeah, that is surprising, I'd say.
Yeah. A lot of respect for elders. Okay. That is not as common in the States, I feel like. Spending time with your extended family. An overall care for taking care of public places and respecting. The subways there are immaculate and they're wonderful, and they take such good care of it. And it's just really impressive to see those types of things. I barely saw any homeless people in Seoul, in a city of 40 million people.
Wow. I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah. Not even including the satellite areas. I mean, it's really so much of the population lives in Seoul. Yeah. The people were very, very kind. They would just go up to, us as foreigners, and they'd want to, they'd be curious. And I actually only had one negative experience ever with a Korean person that, just randomly ever. And he was extremely intoxicated. Okay. And he was kind of bashing the States.
When were you there?
2016, to begin 2016 to
okay.
March 2017.
And it wasn't like, was he just ranting about America in general, not anything going on, or?
It was close to the election.
Okay.
Yeah. But it hadn't happened yet.
Okay.
But he just he was just saying like Americans are like pompous, like they're ignorant. And just common themes though that I wouldn't disagree.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stereotype that some Americans do fit, and he had obviously experienced it. But other than that, it was just wonderful. Everyone was really nice.
Yeah.
Other cultural things there. I experienced, at least in some sense, that like there's definitely a big care for your appearance there.
Really?
Even more so than the States. Like it's the number. Like there's so many plastic surgery places and things of that nature. But even men though will be slightly more feminine. I saw men wearing makeup.
Really?
Or just using creams and things, and buying stuff like that and wearing face masks, and they would just cut their hair in a bit more feminine style. Facial hair is not tight.
Really?
Not tight there. Any of my Korean friends, like.
And you had a beard the whole time, didn't you?
I stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, because my school influenced me to cut my hair.
Okay.
I don't know if they're not big on the whole like androgynous thing. I didn't look female. I'm pretty ugly, but but I would wear my hair up in a bun, and then I would take it down, and like the kids like pretend to be a monster and stuff. But it was kind of just like they pressured me so much. And
really?
Finally I was like, okay.
Who was pressuring you? Just
like the school
administrative,
like subtle passive aggressive.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, you'd be so much more handsome with. That sounded terribly racist, but like they would just like things like that. It was like really nice, but like we want you to cut it. And then I got really sick while I was in Korea, and I almost left, like the first month of teaching.
Really?
I got pneumonia, bacterial pneumonia. I just had a really tough time. I was in the hospital for like a week. Had an amazing experience. One of the best experiences of my life, though, was these two Korean women who didn't know me at all. I was in a hospital room full of, it was like myself and 5 other Korean men who were all older and really sick.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, they saw me, and, I really didn't have that many my friends while I was there. I just had my one friend, and she, came as much as she could. And I was obviously, scared, to be honest. I didn't really know what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And they would have to bring in, the main doctor would see me once a day, and she, was the only one who really spoke good enough English to tell me, medically what was going on. And they just took care of me. I mean, they like literally, they changed my sheets, they fed me, they like clothed me. I had 2 IVs, and it was just, wow. It's another cultural thing there. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen in the States, but, they just didn't, they just wanted to take care of me. They knew that I was scared. They knew that I was sick, and they knew that I needed some help, and they were like my moms. They took care of me just like my mother would.
Yeah, that's great.
And then right after that, I just, was like, all right, new leaf, and cut the hair, and just kind of, it's more culturally appropriate for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of positives. I really don't think there's any negatives from the Korean like culture that I would call a negative.
Yeah. You think you'll go back anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm going to go back in May, actually.
Oh, cool.
And, I'll be going back in May with my friend Jack Seamer. We actually talked about it yesterday.
Nice.
And I'm going to surprise my students.
Oh, awesome.
Which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
They don't go to that school anymore. They're in first grade now. But they go to a Korean school. But that's going to be super hype. Yeah. I'm just going to, I don't know. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I mean... there's so many things I could talk about in Korea, but...
Did you just move back at the end of the school year?
Yeah, so in March...
do some people stay for several years?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I have a friend there, Adam.
Yeah.
Shout out Adam. He's been there for, I think, 3 years. My friend Jono's been there now. He's going on his 2nd year. There's people, though, I'd met there that'd been there for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
There was a guy...
I mean, at that point, you're there.
Oh,
you're like,
yeah, and I mean, it's a very good life.
Yeah,
you can, if you learn language too, it's just really nice. But there's a guy I played a lot of poker while I was over there,
mm-hmm.
And he had been there for like 10 years. He was married, and he just, he had started off teaching, and then he had ended up just becoming a professional poker player. And when he got married, he obviously got his residency.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I met people who had eventually gone on to start their own schools in Korea, and had married. There was a guy, Donnie. He taught my kids before I taught them for a little bit. He married and had a child there, and I'm sure he still lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people really, it's its own culture too. The foreigners, were called Wegukin. And they, it's a very close-knit community of expats over there, and you can really, I wouldn't call it getting sucked in. That sounds like a negative kind of connotation, but you can feel very comfortable there, and it's kind of your own subculture, and you have your Korean friends and your teacher friends from your own school and other schools, and I definitely think about going back often. I wouldn't now with what I do. I have a great job and and I do a lot of fun stuff, but truly an incredible experience, and one that I recommend to anyone who's kind of like, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I kind of want to, I'd like to experience and travel, because I think it's the best of both worlds, is you get to travel because you'll save money no matter what, unless you're just ridiculous,
right?
And then you can just kind of travel the few times you get to travel. I mean, it's hard work though.
That's the job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're working like 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
If you're a good teacher.
And not like sit at a desk 50 hours, like interacting and.
Yeah, you're on your feet the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. I mean, it goes by quickly. I'd rather have that than 50 hours at a desk job, to be honest. I mean, it depends on your personality type, but then you can travel after. So you're traveling while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You get to build like, these skills that I kind of mentioned previously. And then afterwards you take the 5-10K and save half of it, and then go travel around Asia and then Europe or something, and then go home or stay for another year and save more money. Go to another country. That original friend that I went to visit and then came back and hung out, she ended up, now she teaches in Vietnam. And kind of leveraged her skill there to get another job.
Right.
So there's a ton of opportunities, and I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. So at the you are interested in vlogging at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to transition into your current place in life. So you start vlogging, you start making videos, you start getting into photography.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah. So to put in perspective, like, and we've talked about this before, I was just always that guy who was taking photos. Mm-hmm. Usually with my iPhone.
Just because it's the one on you.
Yeah, iPhone 4. I know your favorite iPhone.
Dude,
is it
still? Really is.
Okay, it always will be, right?
Yeah, unless they have another one with flat edges.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like that feature so much. You can just stand it on its side and it would stay up.
Yes, I like it. We always, whenever you and I are looking at like landing pages, and we always turn it to the iPhone 4 to see what it would look like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that iPhone 4 was like, I was totally taking pictures with that.
Not a good camera though.
No. But it was awesome. I thought,
Yeah, at the time.
I loved the zoom function.
Yeah.
Like the pinch, and that was super hype for me. But yeah, so I was always taking pictures of everyone, like obnoxiously.
Yeah.
And taking videos and stuff, just like documenting my life. I love that. And now I like to this day, I have since 2010 or 11, I can see my whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, I have every moment, because I really like preserving moments. I feel like there's so many moments we forget, but that was like kind of the basis for it. And then truly like straight inspiration came from Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
And how I found Casey to kind of like preface this whole adventure into getting into photography and stuff.
Yeah, there's a big shift. I'm interested.
Was I wasn't doing much because I graduated college early, a semester early, because you're supposed to do like an internship. And it was the hoverboard things, like the two, like you would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I have 2 fingers.
What happened to those?
Yeah, it was like like these light on fire sometimes, and it was like the market's done.
Yeah.
I felt like they were so hype, but
they're really fun.
I rode one in Korea. There was like
Really?
a guy who had like a bunch because they were like late on the game there.
Yeah.
And then like everyone was riding them in a park. I thought it was so cool.
They are cool.
But I thought they were cool back then. And so I looked it up and I was like, I typed in like hoverboards or whatever. And I like saw a video and then there was a hoverboard. I was like, I didn't know anything about YouTube at this point. This is end of 2015.
Okay.
Early or like mid 2015, maybe. I don't remember exactly.
You mean like YouTube culture? You didn't know about? Yeah.
And it was like New York City like cop like takes my hoverboard or like bans hoverboards or you know what I mean? It was bans hoverboards.
Some real clickbait.
And I was like, wow, did they really ban? You know what I mean? I was like, wow, this is great. Let me click on this. And I click on it and it was like, you know, like a time lapse. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then it's like, did NYC really ban hoverboard? It's like Casey then like flying past cops. I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And I was just hooked. And I was like, what is he doing? Like, what is this?
Huh.
What is he doing? Like, this is like, he's filming and he's like using cut scenes and it's very like raw, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then I just watched, I kid you not, I must have watched like 100.
Really?
Like, I was just like 10 hours a day. I was just like, what? For like a week. Like, I've never binge watched anything more. And then I remember I caught up. I watched every video he ever made. I was even on like, I don't even know if people know this, but like Casey has like Snapchat, like another, like he's like a bunch of other channels.
Yeah.
Like, I even like maxed out all those. I was like, this guy is amazing. And then, and I was like, I got to start doing this. I feel like I'd be good at this. And then I ended up getting a camera and just like kind of taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And then I vloged to Korea and I was like, I'm going to start vlogging. And then I did.
Yeah.
And then I did like 5 and then I stopped.
You did some ones that kind of blew up.
I guess. Yeah.
Unlike
for the scale, I didn't think they were blowing up, and then now knowing being so involved with like digital media and stuff, like I should have realized it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then like I was involved in a breakup in Korea, so it kind of like stopped. It was kind of like a schism for it was like a. You
don't want to vlog the whole thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I should have.
That's good that you have boundaries in vlogging.
Yeah,
apparently that is a issue that we probably shouldn't get into.
Yeah.
That's been beat to death. I'm talking about Logan Paul filming a dead body in a vlog and putting it up for his target audience, which is 8 to 12-year-olds. So yeah. But anyway,
he hasn't vlogged since, right?
You're right.
I'm right.
You are right, because okay, we obviously have talked about this extensively. Yeah. But I thought he would vlog like
couple. You said that like the Monday. It was like on a Thursday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I said 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's been.
Well, here's the thing. Because obviously,
has them all on ice. He's probably still vlogging. He's not putting them out.
No, dude, he's taking vacation for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because he's vlogged for a year and a half straight every day.
Yeah.
And there's real I don't respect his work.
I think his vlogs are terrible.
And the substance of them, but I respect the hustle. And like,
yeah, we've talked about this. I think he was like the first one to do like the like grind, like the day, like the super hype, excited.
Yeah, yeah.
Like just I'm gonna film everything, and you got to give him credit. Like you can't.
I mean, he got to 10 million. Yeah, he's clearly like successful. I'm not knocking that, but I think his vlogs are terrible and rotting the minds of our youth.
Yeah.
I could speak freely. But anyway, now he just has a vacation.
Yeah,
and has gained followers.
I'd love to do a podcast just on Logan Paul. Let's put that on the side. Yeah, I would love to, but who knows what he's gonna do? But
just live commentary.
I would love
while we watch a vlog.
That would be great.
That would be kind of cool.
I would love to just review, have like a mature perspective.
Yeah. I have thought about like, we need adults for the internet. Like we need.
Yeah. Are we adults?
I mean, legally.
Are we?
I'm just saying.
Who's more adult out of the two of us?
I think you.
Really?
Yeah.
No. I feel like I'm like, even at work, I'm kind of like a joke. Like not a joke, like in a bad. I'm just like the jokey, like, oh, it's Brenden, like that.
Yeah, but you can like get serious.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I have that gear.
Yeah, it's like, it is weird. I turn it on sometimes. Yeah. And like I turn on like we're pretty lax.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan and I do everything together. Like we are the epitome of work husbands. We have to be. And sometimes I'll just turn you and be like, Dan, I need to focus on this. We need to build this together as a team. And like, I'm always like, I wonder how what do you think about that?
When you're like cracking the whip.
Yeah, because yeah.
Yeah, I've never been like, Brenden was so mean to me. Yeah, like I'm just like, yeah,
because we're so chill. We're so chill, and then I think that's why it just seems natural because we kind of just like do it at our own pace. But yeah, I think, really, wow, I'm like, that makes me feel good, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have a hard time taking myself seriously. So
yeah, I think like,
which is like a child trait.
I feel like though, I'll put it this way, like if we had a couple drinks, you're more mature than me. But
really,
if it like life stuff, yeah, like bills, and like having like that stuff,
yeah, I mean,
I feel like you're just like figuring it out. You just like figure like whatever, I'll like do it, whereas I'm trying to like more. But you save more money.
That's just like
because I blow money. We know that.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's like a maturity thing. That's just like
I'm just stupid.
That's almost like a personality trait. Like I don't think it's stupid.
Yeah. I'm like that's an interesting thing is like maturity versus like behavior.
Yeah.
Like adult or like
like some things you grow out of, but other things are just like part of you.
I really hope I grow out of that.
I mean, you're not like
I'm not terrible. I mean, I like but I'm definitely like buy.
You also like cool stuff.
So I buy toys.
Yeah. Like you have some cool art books.
Dan's looking at just like literally a ridiculous amount of coffee table books. I went through a coffee table addiction.
Yeah, but they're cool.
Yeah, I think so. But like, look where they are.
They're not on
like
a coffee table.
The worst spot.
They're on a. They're above a TV stand.
Yeah, but like totally off topic. That I don't know how I did that or we did that, but to get back to your original point of the Casey.
Okay. And I don't remember what it was.
Logan Paul gets us fired.
Oh
up.
Yeah, he does.
He does. Look at this. That's why we
care about the kids.
We do.
That's what it is. I think YouTube. I've said this before, but I think YouTube needs a Mr. Rogers type character.
And it's you.
I think I would impassable.
I feel like your outfit right now is like very like
in my stance.
Yeah.
My like
I feel like
crossed legs, somewhere in between like the relaxed guy cross and like the feminine like knees touching cross. Yeah, I mean I don't think
you're like to me right now. I don't know why. This might sound like a not cool. You look like the hippest like guy from Blue's Clues ever.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the solid colored
like
sweater,
the solid colored sweater,
sweatshirt.
It's like
I take that as a high compliment.
Yeah. Like you would be like cool, whereas I don't think like to me he wasn't cool.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't. I don't even think he was cool back then.
I don't know why. Like you know, Blue's Clues now I think was like. Like what was Blues ever saying?
What were we watching?
It's like, do you like the color? I was like, okay,
yeah.
But I was like mad hype for that show. But so yeah. Anyway, God, Logan Paul, you're the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Started watching those. Casey got a camera.
Yeah.
And then started making them, and then went through a period like just a reflective period there. And I was like, all right, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. Then started taking more pictures.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly because I didn't want to spend too much time with other people, like to vlog them or like video them. So I was like, all right, well, what am I going to do? Right. So then I just started taking pictures. And for any like photography people out there, I just had like a Canon 70D at that point, which is the same camera that you have. Mm-hmm. And I just had a 50 millimeter 1.8 because I heard it was like street photography, like, you know, the like,
really?
Yeah, like I think it's definitely like the Nifty 50. I think like every company makes them.
Yeah.
Is like a great starting camera, but it's just such a classic street photography.
Yeah.
Because you have 50 millimeter being like the human eye.
Right.
And you get great depth of field and like great bokeh, which is like I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it started. And I just would fire off shots everywhere and try to figure it out, and didn't even know about post processing, and honestly would just try to take a lot of pictures of like something in the foreground with the background blurred out. Like I was like, oh, this is so hype.
Yeah.
Like portrait mode on steroids. Yeah. I like would just go do like studies on like bicycles in a line or like this, and like mess with the focus and the aperture and like try to learn and like take pictures of cars and like play with the shutter speed, you know, like try to figure out what I was doing. Like how does ISO affect the quality of the picture, and like this and that, and kind of went through that process, and then really went for it in Europe after I left Korea in March, and was like, all right, I'm really gonna get into this. And then like on the internet, it was like, Lightroom is useful. I'm like, what is Lightroom? Like, that's such, which is awesome though. I love when you like naturally progress. And I actually, I don't know if I ever told you this. I made like a definitive decision. Like, I'm not watching any photography videos.
I actually was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not doing that at all. I think that's
such an interesting move.
I was like, I'm not. I actually, it was like a concrete, definitive, like explicit decision.
Like a rule for yourself.
Yeah. It was like a rule that I made. Like, I'm not watching any, how to be a better photographer, how to frame things, composition. I don't even know, like, I know what composition is now, but I don't know what someone would like to explain it. I wouldn't know how to do that.
Right.
And I was just like, I just want my own style.
Yeah.
And that stemmed from my cousin, who's an actor in LA. Shout out Zac Efron. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out Bobby. Shout out Robert DeSanti. Check him out, honestly. At Robert DeSanti.
Yeah, he's good.
He's really good though. And he showed me it was like a video on, it was some director. I wish I should know this, but I really remember the content more than who it was, saying like, don't go to film school, which you hear this from a lot of people. Yeah. He's like, just get a camera and figure it out. And I took that for photography. Yeah. Like that approach.
How did you know to trust your own eye? Like, why did you think you were qualified? I guess.
I mean, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Because the truth was, I was doing it for no one except myself.
Okay.
Like and it would just go into that, like I told you, the storage file. It was just better quality image, higher resolution images,
better
now.
Memory. Recollection.
And it kind of was just like that process, and then took a bunch in Europe, took some okay photos, and then learned about Lightroom. Like I said, went home, moved home, back at home, played a lot of poker. And then went back and was like, all right, I'm going to really try. And I got a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then really started like grinding it out, and then got some good feedback and just started doing it more and more and more. And then, like freelance gigs. And then now I just started to do it a lot.
Yeah. Do you I mean, you kind of were doing a lot of landscape, but I guess cityscape, not cityscapes in the sense that it's like the whole city, but like urban.
Yeah.
Like, how would you describe your style, or is it still evolving? And
yeah. Well, this year I'm definitely like, my style. It would just, I don't know if I had a style. I don't even know if I have a style. Like, I think, because like everyone has like a, not everyone obviously, but if you notice, I think Instagram's where I get like a lot of inspiration, or I just like view other people's stuff.
Like, that's where you see them.
Yeah. And like a lot of people either have like one of two things. A, like their subject matter is similar. They're like synonymous with so like flowers. They had lots of flowers, or like lots of traveling, or lots of portraits, or lots of, like
bikini models.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Something. And then or it's like I put the same, I assume is a preset from Lightroom on all my photos. So it's like a hint of blue, or whatever.
Like strong blue, strong oranges.
Yeah.
I remember the
Something
first time
like
someone like pointed out the, I guess, prevalence of the orange
and teal.
Yeah. And then like every movie poster you see, and it was just like, oh, this is like, I don't know. It just made me think about, I guess, the science of the way we see images and how we're.
Oh yeah, there's psychology. There's so much psychology.
Yeah, like how we're
in everything
more inclined on a neurological level to like.
Yeah.
Just think, blue and orange contrasting images or colors looks good. Like there's like
it's so simple but so complex.
Yeah.
And that's like when you have like, it's just crazy how when you combine like you're not only is it like just the color science, color psychology, but then if you like combine it like you're like a movie post, like a movie where you have colors and then sounds, and then content, and then like what they're saying, it's like, oh, man,
once you start to like understand the, I guess, defaults or the standard way, you start to appreciate when other people do it a different way. Or if someone does a blue and orange in a way you've never seen before, it's like, oh, that's like
that
really
uniqueness.
Like,
that's why it just stands out. So like, I feel like for me, I don't really know. I know that I like, in what you're referring to, like the city, like I really do like and I do this whenever I travel.
Mm-hmm.
I just get out of the hostel or the friend's house or wherever, and I just walk around and I just try to find something cool to like take a picture of. Yeah. And then I've talked to you about this before, but my goal, I guess, my process for taking any photo is one to frame it and to set it up in a way that I like. And sometimes I do shoot a little bit wider and then crop a bit if I don't know. But usually I'm pretty close to what I want. And then the experience I'm feeling, I want to like reiterate that in the photo. So in post-processing, I'll go and I'll change it. Sometimes it looks very natural. Sometimes based on my like how I feel, I'll alter it.
You'll try and
put in like a feeling. But this year I really want to do a lot more photos of people. Yeah. Like my good friends, the band Gary Laser Eyes, they really supported me and like hit me up to start taking photos of them, which I was a little bit nervous to do just because I never try to take photos of people like that were going to go public. Yeah. And all the photos I had taken prior to that of people were very private. Okay. Like I would never, it was just like, photos I had taken of just my friends, very private or, just like all very, very private. I can't reiterate that enough. So it was just weird for me to want to take a photo of a person which had been so intimate to me. Yeah. And do that. But they're the only people I'll really shoot right now. Really? Like people have hit me up to shoot like them or someone. And yeah, so I shot them and I want to do that more. But I've moved into like shooting. I've shot some like lifestyle related stuff. Like I went to New York and shot like some Nikes and stuff. And did that. Which was really tight, but it was just the shoes. Yeah.
That's turned out really nice though.
Yeah, those were hype, and and now I'm trying to like get more into just trying to figure out like setting like a mood and experience with like with subjects like physical people, instead of just the landscape. And I think I don't know if that's how like people progress or some people just stay. I have no idea. I don't really have that many like photography friends actually.
In terms of how people
like find their niche. Yeah. But and I've told you about this. Like for a while, I was like pretty hype on trying to get like self-branded on Instagram. Not from like a corny standpoint, but just honestly because I didn't know where photography would take me, and I wanted to like. Yeah. I don't really care. If, I think no one who really likes doing something cares if someone else likes it or not. But it's good to have a platform where you can share.
Yeah, you get feedback and
get feedback and get opportunities from it. But I was like, man, I kind of got stuck on this like, oh, I'm gonna keep doing like this urban like travel, like it's travel, but it's like urban stuff, it's street. And then I was like, wait, like I can't upload a picture of myself now. Yeah. Which there's no photos of myself on my Instagram.
Except your profile
except
picture.
My profile picture, which was not taken by me. Because I don't like my picture taken. You know that. Yeah. I feel bad for all the people whose picture I take every day. Because they feel like at work.
Oh,
yeah,
because
you're I take people's pictures. Yeah, such a hypocrite. But yeah, so that's like this. I don't really know. Like the culmination of all this has just like led to this point. I'm just like forever want to learn. Yeah. I don't really think I'm that good.
You've taken some shots that I'm like, this could be on any magazine or anywhere, and I would not think like.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I have like my friend in New York, Jack. Like, I've gotten great feedback. There's people like you're a person who I take your feedback very seriously because you've told me like, Brenden, that's shit. Like really though, like you know what I mean, and I'm not gonna be upset. It is very helpful. Jack is the same way, but he has like a great eye, and I remember when I took those photos. One of the photos for of the Nikes, I was like, "What do you think about these?" He's like, "Yeah, like that's how Jack is like, yeah, dude, like it's pretty good, but it doesn't make me want to buy Nikes." And it was like so powerful to me. I was like, man, he's so right though. Yeah. Just because this photo looks great, it's not conveying anything. There's nothing special about it. Like, you composed it correctly, and the lighting was good, and the shoes look cool, and the background is nice, and you good post processing, but it's really not that special, Okay. And it's like you can get to the 1%, but then you got to be the 1% of the 1%. Yeah. And then the 1% of the 1%. Right. And so that's kind of my goal, is to make you feel something.
Yeah.
Because I think the photos you're talking about, at least, like some of the photos I've taken, there's like one or two, I'm like, that's a great, I love that photo. It's been rare that I've said that. And that's what I think as a photographer you want, is like, if you think you did a great job, someone else will. That's like, I think that's a good gauge.
Yeah.
And if they don't, though, that's great, because who else matters other than yourself? So it's that goal to like be more, to make it better for me. Because I've definitely put out photos where like, I just took a photo, I thought it was good, but I didn't really think to that point, like, do I feel an emotion on this photo? Do I think, this and that about it, that go the extra mile, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, will define, and you just always, it's a never ending process.
Right.
I think your style's always improving, to you at least.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're always just trying to reach your own taste level, or like trying to make the stuff you wish existed. Like that's.
Yeah. I feel like you're going through a process now where I feel like you have all these.
That's
like,
always the case.
Yeah. I feel like you have like a Pandora's box of ideas in your head.
I don't know if that's true. I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like I have like rarely have ideas that
I think you're too hard on yourself.
Okay, and this is the point where we totally derail the conversation. And I talked about Call Me By Your Name, which is a movie that I've seen twice in theaters now. And I just talked about it for like 20 minutes, which was, looking back, too much for a movie that probably no one listening to this has seen. So we cut a bunch of that, and this is the end of the episode. There's like I used the footage that we recorded when we decided to stop recording, but this is essentially the end. Hope you enjoyed our conversation, and if you have any ideas for guests or would like to be on yourself, just let me know. Send me an email, send me a text. I think there's an email associated with the podcast. I'll leave it in the description notes. And there was another thing we cut out. I said if you made it to the end, then like if you the first person to text me or notify me in any way, I would make you something custom, like a little drawing, or I don't know. I'll figure it out depending on who you are. But yeah, that still stands. So here's us wrapping up the podcast in an actual conversation. But I felt like we needed to tie what we were talking about before and the end of our conversation together with some post-recorded dialogue. Okay. We'll see you next time. Anyway, okay. We can have this conversation off mic. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.